UCLA is 13-0. This win sets an all-time program record for the best start.
A dominant second half for UCLA. They get the victory on the road. They remain undefeated, 15-0.
And UCLA escapes the mountain trip, their 9th straight over the Buffaloes. UCLA 5-0 in conference, 16-0 overall.
Coach, I got a bone to pick with you. I feel like you and we've been close over the years. I was down on campus to talk to Mick Cronin. I was peeking through a little hole watching your team practice for a little bit. You and I got to speak for a few minutes. You never mentioned to me that this team was going to come out of the gate with a 16-0 record. How come you kept it so close to the vest?
You know, I was holding out on you, Mike,
yeah.
You know, and, as if I would know that. I have to admit that I really didn't predict this, but honestly, I really don't care. But at the same time, I'm proud because, you know, anytime, you know, a team you're trying to build championship culture when they execute a first. You know, this is the first time in women's basketball school history at UCLA that somebody has started 16-0. So obviously really proud of their willingness to dream big and work big. But all my eyes are just on this week and getting better this week. And I think the less we focus on that, the better off we'll be in terms of playing our best basketball.
Coach, is it hard to get your team's attention when it's 16-0 and you're still looking for those teachable moments?
You know, it's actually been interesting. I don't think it's been hard at all. But I think this group really holds themselves to a high standard. In fact, I just had an individual meeting with Japrice Dean, and she said, Coach, I feel like we've been losing. I don't feel like we're celebrating 16-0 at all. I think this group really wants to play elite basketball. So it's not just about what the record says or what the in-game score is. You know, we actually have been really displeased with ourselves the last, you know, about 10 days in terms of how we've responded, and I love that about this team. This team loves the game, and they have really big dreams, and so it's pretty easy to hold the mirror up to them. I think they're just frustrated they haven't turned it around a little quicker.
All right, 16-0. If you're not celebrating that, does that mean we are in store for some more dancing videos with you and your squad?
Well, I don't wish that upon anyone because I really have zero rhythm. But I'll pretty much do anything if it'll get them to play hard and play together.
Is there something that stood out at the start of this season or as the year has unfolded to go 16-0? I always think about your teams and everything that I've seen so far this season. I think about high scores and the output that you guys are putting out offensively. But outside of that, is there something that resonates for you when you watch the game film?
Well, I think, you know, I have a core group of leaders and that are very complimentary of each other. And I think about the experience that Michaela Onyenwere got with USA Basketball. And, you know, not only in the Pan American Games and playing the most minutes on that team, but also in 3-on-3. And I just think she came back with a new level of confidence and a new standard for herself that she leads from. And then you have Lindsay Cusaro, who's really the glue of our team, and to watch her sort of put pieces together and lead in such a great way on and off the court. And then you got this fireball in Japrice Dean, and she loves it so much, sometimes to a fault, because she puts so much pressure on herself to perform every moment, every game. And you know, I keep you know, trying to get her to relax a little bit, breathe a little bit, smile a little bit more, because I think she'll play at her best.
Coach, I think you were one of the great ambassadors for the game of basketball, and on the women's side, specifically the WNBA, they just get a new CBA deal that just gets passed. They're going to get more money, better travel arrangements, better benefits in terms of family things that are going on. I couldn't help but notice the amount of Pac-12 players in leadership roles on the players' side. Just give me some context on just how big this is for the game.
Well, I do want to piggyback on what you said about the Pac-12. I mean, I look at that picture with Chene and Nneka and, you know, Elijah there, and I just think about, you know, we talk about this being the Conference of Champions, and isn't that the best thing we can ask for, is watching the leadership of those women and how they fought to push things forward. But they were taught and mentored and equipped to be leaders on the court and to be leaders, you know, in our culture, let alone in the greater good of the WNBA. And I just was so proud of them. You talk about back the pack, man. Watching them, I was smiling ear to ear just for what that said about the preparation of the Pac-12 conference on and off the court. But this is really big. And I think I try to, and I think you and I have talked about this, Mike, but I try to live in sort of the healthy tension between being really grateful to how far we've come. I mean, there's so many more opportunities for women now than there were 20 years ago, and heck, 10 years ago, or for instance, yesterday before the CBA agreement was signed. But, you know, we still have so far to go. And I'm so grateful for the persevering spirit of the WNBA and their leadership to try to, this is not just a WNBA issue. This is a women's issue. This is a culture issue. What do we value? Still only 5% of sports coverage is of women in our country on a day-to-day basis. You know, still we have a long ways to go to, you know, to make opportunities more readily available for women to be elite, both as wives, as spouses, as mothers, and as athletes. But there's a huge celebration to be had for the steps that were made of growth by this new CBA agreement. And so I am really excited and very grateful and proud for the progress that has been made, and relentlessly determined to continue to move things forward. And please let me say this loud and clear, that we have more games on linear television from the Pac-12 than any other conference in the country, period. And I don't think there's any doubt about it. The exposure we've gotten not only has moved the sport forward, but it's allowed us to recruit at the highest levels and to keep people home on the West Coast. And I am so grateful for the exposure that Pac-12 Networks has given women's basketball specifically, and it has been an absolute game changer.